Hi, I'm Mr. Open Oceans, and welcome to my top 10 ranking of Christmas movies. Now, I'm going to get this out the way with, there's probably one or two I've forgotten that really deserve to be in here. So, basically, I'm going to give a list of 10 of my favourite Christmas movies. And while one of these might be controversial as to whether it is a Christmas movie, I say it is. That's number 9 for you. Anyway, let's get started. In number 10, I've put A Christmas Carol from 1984. It's a really good retelling of the original novella, which I had studied for GCSE English. And George C. Scott plays the role of Scrooge perfectly, so I think that this is definitely one of the top Christmas movies. Not necessarily my favourite version of A Christmas Carol, but I love the story in general. So this one had to be in the top 10 for me, but only just snuck in at 10. Number 9 for me, here's the controversial one, Die Hard. Now, I would say it's a Christmas movie. What's more Christmassy than a guy saving a bunch of people from terrorists? You know, it's Christmas. But, yeah, Die Hard is a movie where John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, has to take out a bunch of terrorists who have taken over the Nakatomi Plaza. So, you know, it's a typical Christmas movie. But it's really fun, it's really action-filled. I love this movie, and it's probably Bruce Willis at his best, so number 9. Number 8, The Santa Claus. Now I put this one here because this is one that I do watch every year. It's Tim Allen plays a character who inadvertently causes the death of Santa, and thusly puts on Santa's suit and unwillingly agrees to become Santa. So he slowly starts transforming into Santa Claus, and obviously has to fill out all the roles and responsibility while having to deal with his son as well. So it's a fun movie. It's really fun. So number 8 for me. Number 7, Home Alone. Now, Home Alone is a classic movie. It's a great Christmas movie. Kevin McAllister gets left home alone. And what does he do? Well, he starts to have fun, and then next thing you know, people are trying to break and enter into his house. And no, this wasn't Santa Claus breaking and entering. This was 2 burglars who were just trying to steal stuff as they could. So what does the kid do? Set up elaborate traps to try and hurt these people, which are often amusing. But this movie also comes with a nice story to it as well, so definitely deserves a number 7 spot there. My number 6 movie in this list is Disney's A Christmas Carol. This is the animated one with Jim Carrey as Ebenezer Scrooge. The animation on this movie is really good. This movie is from 2009, I want to say, something like that off the top of my head. It's definitely late 2000s, but if you release this movie now, no one would complain because it still holds up today. The animation is great, Jim Carrey is really good as Scrooge, and of course it's the same story that we'll know and love. So I had to put this one in here at number 6. Number 5, however, takes a slightly different turn on the story. In number 5, I've put Scrooged. This is the Bill Murray movie, where Bill Murray plays like a television executive and is visited by 3 spirits, and much like with The Christmas Carol. It's a very different take on the story, because obviously a lot of it is the same Christmas Carol that we all know, but it's got a bit of a different tone to it. Overall, it seems like a much darker movie, and it has a lot of. It doesn't follow the story to a script or anything of the original. It has a lot of differences, but you can tell that the main story is still there, and in the end, all the lessons you learn are the same. It was just a really unique take on it, so I love it for that reason. It's number 5. Number 4, Deck the Halls. This is a movie starring Danny DeVito, who moves in as a neighbour to, I think his name's Matthew Broderick. So they become neighbours, and Danny DeVito, the character, becomes obsessed with having his house seen from space, so decides to cover his house in loads of lights, which obviously would upset his neighbour. So they get into this rivalry that's comedic at times. So it's a really fun movie. Definitely worth a watch. Number 4 for me. Number 3 would be Elf. Elf stars Will Ferrell as Buddy the Elf, who was raised in the North Pole despite being a human, and goes to New York in search for his father, who is on the naughty list, and tries to reconnect with his father after all the years of living in the North Pole. He goes to New York, and people aren't the most accepting of him because, well, he's an elf, he's a Christmas elf. But it's also a really nice story of love in a lot of different ways. So, and of course it's funny as well. It's a Will Ferrell movie, what's not to love? So number 3 for me. My number 2 movie would be The Muppets Christmas Carol. I'm aware this is the 4th variation of A Christmas Carol I've put in this list, but it's a great story. And the Muppets one is another extremely unique twist on it, because obviously it has the cast of the Muppets, as well as Michael Caine, who's a really good Scrooge. So, this version follows the regular story pretty closely, takes a few liberties with adding in Gonzo as Charles Dickens as a narrator, and throws in a good amount of comedic elements and musical numbers too, which makes this a very unique version, but it really works and I do like this version. This one's always been one of my favourites, so number 2 for me. Now my number 1 Christmas movie, it's taken me a few years to realise this is my favourite one, but it is Jingle All The Way. This is a movie that not everybody loves, but it has a cult following really, and so this is a movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger as a father who rushes to get his son the biggest toy around on Christmas Eve, and struggles to find this toy anywhere because he's left it really late. And he ends up getting into a rivalry with a mailman who also wants to get this toy. So they have this comedic rivalry of trying to get this toy while pretty much everybody else is trying to get one too. And this movie it's funny, it's got really good, like, the final scene of this movie is really enjoyable, and it's Arnold Schwarzenegger doing what he does best, so gotta love it. So that's my top 10 Christmas movies. I've blitzed through those real quick for you. If you haven't seen any of these, be sure to check them out at some point. But anyway, thanks all for listening. If you have any Christmas movies that are your favourites that didn't make the cut, let me know in the comments below. So until next time, thanks for watching and ciao!